It's all about growth, and you've said that growth and productivity is the key to our economic prosperity. So the International Monetary Fund records GDP growth data for 190 countries. According to the latest figures, where just roughly would you expect New Zealand to sit?
I mean, we've been flat to negative, actually, for the last 3 years, essentially. And that is a function of high interest rates because of high inflation, because of poor financial management.
So where would you expect us to sit? 190 countries, just roughly?
I wouldn't know, but I would just say to you, I know where we are, which is that it's negative and flat.
So currently, according to the International Monetary Fund, out of 190 countries, New Zealand is 179th. Not just lower growth than Australia, Canada, France, Singapore, those countries we compare ourselves to, but lower growth.
Growth, right? Future, what we're doing now, growth. Not debt from the past or whatever other word, growth. Projections.
And Guinea-Bissau, Suriname, Chad, lower growth than Iraq under Prime Minister Christopher Luxon.
Sheesh.
Why is that?
Well, look, again, what I'd just say to you is we've kind of forgotten the immutable laws of economics, I'd say, that we learned 35 years ago. And we've taken good
We've forgotten them, or one could say some of you never learnt them, Mr. Luxon.
economic management for granted. When you go spend 84% increase in spending, when you drive up inflation domestically, you have to then take interest rates up. When you take interest rates, you've put the economy into recession, and when the economy is in recession, it leads to unemployment. And that's why we've always said, if you actually care about working New Zealanders, you actually are fiscal conservatives. You actually run the economy well, because the pain is ultimate unemployment. And that's what we've actually been seeing, Jack, the last 3 to 6 months, is the lag effect of that. If you're a business that's hung in there with high inflation, high interest rates, suppressed demand, the last thing you're left with is actually laying workers off, and we've seen some of that this year. So that's why we've got to get, we're working our way through those 5 components, but you've got to work through them sequentially so that you get the show going.
So which countries didn't experience an inflation spike during COVID?
Well, yeah, this is also very good, and what we've been saying for 2 years, it's been a stick to beat Labor with about inflation and extra spending, like every country in the world. Yes, we did have a bit of a longer tail than some, but there's a couple of reasons for that. One is we don't have the economy that, say, USA does, right? And 2 is that we chose to take on a bit more debt to keep more New Zealanders alive. So I'm okay with that payoff. So what countries didn't? The answer is, well, none. And finally, we get someone like Jack Tame asking someone like Christopher Luxon about that.
So that you get the show going.
So which countries didn't experience an inflation spike during COVID?
Well, ours was longer because we kept printing cash. So that wasn't
my question. My question was, which countries didn't?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, what I'm focused on is
basically all countries on Earth.
Yeah,
right?
Hang on. How can you be the Prime Minister of a country, be in charge of an economy, be the party of business and economy, and not have a clue what's going on in the rest of the world economically? Like, how can you actually say which countries didn't have a spike? I don't know. Like, how is that acceptable?
Which countries didn't?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean,
I'm not sure. Like, all of the Western countries did. I know that. I know that, Chewie. How can I know that? And the Prime Minister, who is the economic whiz kid and the dealer of deals, not know that?
Oh, what was that Baltic country that he wanted us to be like?
Was it Georgia? No.
It wasn't Georgia. There's awesome stuff happening in Georgia, but it's not that. Was it Lithuania?
Don't think so. Can't remember.
Something
anyway.
Like but there would be the easy comparison. And I wish Jack would pull this out of his little bag of tricks.
Estonia.
Estonia, yes. Yeah, bring out that comparison. How did Estonia do during COVID? How's Estonia doing now? You wanted us to be like Estonia. Are we like Estonia? That would be a great question. I don't have the answer to that, but that would be one to talk about. But he's adrift here. This is the sign of a prime minister that is very surface level. He is not across his numbers. He is not ready to go into this interview. This is why they've kept him away from Jack all year. This is dreadful.
Yeah. And just so you know, we've done it a bit of the flipped around. This was the first series of questions. I know we've played it in a different order to you, but this was the start of the interview with him. Let's keep going.
Well,
I think basically all countries on Earth.
Yeah,
right? All countries on Earth had inflation. All developed economies are bringing inflation down now, but for some reason New Zealand's 179th out of 190, worse than we were 12 months ago.
Yeah, and that's why we're working so hard, Jack, to make sure that we actually deal with the cost of living through getting inflation and interest rates right.
CEO talk. So now he's going to sell. Now he's selling the product. That's why this roll deodorant is better than the opposition. And once we get to Q3, you'll see the sales increase and everything will be fine. CEO speak.
That's why
everyone is working incredibly hard to deliver outcomes for everyday New Zealanders. That is a phrase that means fucking nothing and cannot be measured.
Yeah. All right.
So hard, Jack, to make sure that we actually deal with the cost of living through getting inflation interest rates right. Now that means confidence is building. That confidence has to translate into economic growth. You've got forecasts, I think, from the RBNZ I saw this week suggesting that we might be growing 2 to 2.4% next year. That's good. It's a start. It's better than where we've been, which is flat to negative growth.
So you blame the previous government on the situation in New Zealand.
But now we own it, and now we're working hard in 12 months, and we've been working really hard to actually make sure we put discipline spending in place.
Yeah.
That has been a key partner to monetary policy to get inflation back down.
Just let me ask a question here. So I appreciate the political convenience of blaming the last government.
Well, it's not really. It's just the reality.
Well, we're in December 2024. Like I say, inflation's coming around in basically every comparable economy in the world. I think everyone would appreciate that a bit of an impact on growth at the start of your parliamentary term might be understandable. But the curious thing is that the forecasts around growth have continued to worsen. So take this week's monetary policy statement. The forecasts are for even slower economic growth than the monetary policy statement was forecasting in August, when you'd already been in the job for 9 months. So why do the forecasts keep getting worse under your government?
I would just say to you, Jack, I think all New Zealanders know it's been a pretty tough time and we've inherited a hell of a mess. And I think what you've seen in 12 months...
Including the economists, right? So the economists, the Reserve Bank, the Treasury, for example, all of your staff, they know exactly the kind of fiscal situation you inherited. And yet, while you've been in government, the forecasts have been worse. So look at that NPS in August. They gave us growth forecasts. And in the time since August, those forecasts have gotten worse under your leadership.
Yep.
So why is that?
Well, again, what I'm saying is you have to take your...
Just remember, forecasts, what's to come. So your policies, Mr. Luxon, that you're putting in today, the things that you're shaping the future with, the experts are saying that what you're putting in place is not going to do that. The forecast, what's to come, is slower.
Forecasts have gotten worse under your leadership.
And
so why is that?
Well, again, what I'm saying is you have to take your medicine. You actually have to work through the economy, and that's what we're doing. You get spending under control, as we've been doing. We haven't thrown the economy into austerity. We've got a very balanced approach to that.
You're not answering my question. My question is why does it get worse under your government?
Because you actually have to work your way sequentially through spending, inflation, interest rates, growth.
But all of the economists appreciate that, and yet for some reason the forecasts keep getting worse.
Well, the forecasts are forecasts. The reality is we get to change those forecasts if we do the right things. And that's what we want to do as a government.
Forecasts are forecasts. You said, quote, our job is to make sure we do better than the forecast.
That's right.
You said in the lead up to last year's election. So can you point to any medium-term GDP growth forecast that has improved during your time in charge?
No, what I'd say to you, we still acknowledge we've got tough times. The forecasts around economic growth will be a consequence of the decisions we make around spending, inflation and interest rates.
Just to get an answer on that question, though, can you point to any medium-term GDP growth forecast that has improved under your leadership?
Our forecasts are really challenged and they have deteriorated.
So just to be totally clear on that question, though, can you point to any medium-term GDP growth forecast that's improved under your leadership?
Not from memory that I can see, but what I can tell you, Jack, is...
You can't?
No, but what I want you to be really clear about is it's all very well, but you had 6 years of economic mismanagement.
You're the CEO. You're the guy with the 100-day plan. You're the guy who said we're going to turn the economy around. And the truth is,
and isn't it great,
that under your leadership, the forecasts have continued to deteriorate.
Isn't it great? That
this is what I was talking about. We'll go back. Here's a really good example of the CEO talk. Listen to what Jack's saying. Jack's basically saying, you're the guys that are supposed to fix this. And he's going, isn't it great? But Jack's going, but it's not being fixed. And isn't it great? This is the perfect example of CEO talk.
I can tell you, Jack.
You can't.
No, but what I want you to be really clear about is it's all very well, but you had 6 years of economic mismanagement.
You're the CEO. You're the guy with the 100-day plan. You're the guy who said we're going to turn the economy around. And the truth is,
and isn't it great,
that under your leadership, the forecasts have continued to deteriorate.
But isn't it great that we've actually lowered inflation, food inflation?
Well, I mean, like I said, every comparable country in the world has lowered inflation.
Rates coming down in the way that we have after, 12 rate rises. We've got 3 rate cuts.
Wasn't it great that the previous government was bringing down inflation as well? Wasn't it great that every single comparable economy around the world...
If you carried on spending as the previous government did, you wouldn't have seen inflation or interest rates come down this year.
Hey, Pat.
Yes.
Pat.
Yes.
Guess what else has come down this year? Guess what else? This is new news.
Yeah.
This is new news. Our credit rating, our country's credit rating has come down as well. We're no longer AAA plus.
So when we were under COVID and those reds under the bed that couldn't do anything, we had a better credit rating than when we were under the party of business who know how to fix things, who have got worse outcomes projecting forward, who have got worse forecasts projecting forward than the last lot of quote unquote from Mr. Luxon economic vandals had. Yeah?
Yeah, that's great. But look, I have full confidence that our finance minister will get us back on track because she's got the qualifications to really get us there. Oh, hang on. Fuck, no, she doesn't.